Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Well, 2025 really has started with an absolute bang. We're going to be talking about everything today, guys, so this could be a long one. We're going to be talking about the absolute insanity that is happening literally by the hour in the United States. We're going to be talking about what's been happening in the United Kingdom and how it seems we've got a government that really is working for somebody else. I mean, they're certainly not working for the people. We're going to be giving you guys an update on the Middle East and how all roads really are leading to a global conflict on an industrial scale. We're going to be talking about why the United States has to have boots on the ground in Iran. We're going to be touching on the, the Pakistan-Afghanistan conflict. And of course, I'm going to give you guys an update on Ukraine and let you guys know what's happening there. But first, before we go on, guys, I want to just start this video, I guess, by talking about what's been happening in the United Kingdom. Now, if you're not from the United Kingdom, you may not know these things are happening. But we have a situation in the United Kingdom where... Well, let me just show you this, actually. Let me just share this with you. So if you want to know what the political class like are in the... If you want to know what the political class like are... I have forgotten how to talk. If you want to know what the political class are like in the United Kingdom, I've just got a little screenshot to show you guys here. And this kind of encapsulates everything. So this lady here, Naz Shah, she is currently a member of parliament for in the United Kingdom for, I believe it's Bradford West. Also, I think non-related, but I think Bradford West got voted as the place in the United Kingdom with the lowest IQ. Anyway, so this lady here, she's an MP, and this is what she said. Those abuse girls in Rotherham and elsewhere just need to shut their mouths for the good of diversity. And, it's like, how can, or she liked the comment, like, she's a sitting member of parliament who's supposed to be representing the country. And she's, and she wants the girls that were abused in our country by predominantly Pakistani Muslim gangs. She wants them to shut their mouths. Just look at the wording, shut their mouths. So if you are one of these poor girls who's been abused by Pakistani Muslim men, you need to shut your mouth for the good of diversity, according to the Bradford West Member of Parliament. So, what do we think about that? Where do we go with that? I mean, how do we come back from that? As that is our political system at the moment. We can't get rid of her because she's been voted in. She's got another 4 years of, I mean, who can, if she's saying these things publicly and not going back on these things, how can she, how can we, if she's saying these things publicly, what is she saying, behind closed doors? What's she saying behind, what she's saying behind closed doors and to a close circle of friends? What kind of policies is she pushing through and what agenda do they have? So this all comes off the back of a lady called Jess Phillips. Jess Phillips is in the United Kingdom. Jess Phillips, paradoxically, is the safeguarding minister. Now, in the United Kingdom, we have had an epidemic of young girls being abused. And again, it's predominantly by Pakistani Muslim men, sexually abused. So this is all out in the mainstream. So I don't feel I'm saying anything controversial or, speculating here. And, I grew up in Rotherham, so I do know what this is all about. But we've had this lady, Jess Phillips. I'm going to put a picture of her in the thumbnail. Guys, listen, when you see that picture of her in the thumbnail, just, I'm looking at the picture now. I don't know if I can keep looking at her. Anyway, She's come out and she's refused to launch a national inquiry into what happened with these grooming gangs. Now, we all know what happened with these grooming gangs. We can all speculate, and I'm going to say we are all right because we lived through this. I certainly lived through this and witnessed this firsthand. I'm at an age now where it was my generation of girls that were targeted, attacked, and abused by this demographic. So, I know lots of girls who've been involved in this. But I'll read you the headline. Elon Musk, Jess Phillips deserves to be in prison over Labour's refusal to launch grooming gangs inquiry. So Labour has come under fire after refusing to hold a public inquiry into sexual abuse by grooming gangs. She's the safeguarding minister. Who is she safeguarding realistically? Who is she safeguarding? And then this comes out now, and Elon Musk is going absolutely full frontal now. He's sharing things, and he's putting a lot of pressure on the government. He's stirring up a certain, he's stirring up a lot in the United Kingdom right now. I certainly agree with what he's stirring up, but equally, I've given you guys my opinions on Elon Musk and Donald Trump. I'm not so sure. They look like they're doing good things now, but I'm seeing things coming out of the weeds, and I'm just trying to prepare myself because I kind of don't trust anybody at this moment. But what Elon Musk is saying, about Jess Phillips, I think it is absolutely disgusting that the government are not launching an inquiry into what happened to these girls. I think it is disgusting that the government are just so blasé and blatant about this, and they don't. The optics are that the government certainly don't even care. I would like to understand what the reasoning behind not launching this inquiry would be. And again, if you live in the United Kingdom, she's probably going to say we've got a 22 billion pound black hole or something ridiculous like that. And then we've got another article now saying Elon Musk calls for jailed UK far-right activist Tommy Robinson to be released. Elon Musk has called for the jailed far-right activist Tommy Robinson to be released and criticised the UK Prime Minister's response to grooming gang scandals when he served as the country's chief prosecutor more than a decade ago. So you understand now how this, in the United Kingdom, how there's this interconnection between these grooming gangs, Keir Starmer, and then if you keep leading that back, you've got to, you can't keep looking at Keir Starmer. You've got to think, right, okay, why? Why is Keir Starmer doing this? Okay, who does Keir Starmer and the Labour Party work for? Okay, they work for Lord Ali. Okay, look into Lord Ali. Guys, please go and do your research. Look into Lord Ali. All the information is there, readily available on mainstream media. So listen, guys, I'm not even out of the United Kingdom at the moment. So this was not reported in. This did not make the headlines in the United Kingdom. Now I can't work out whether there was 3 incidents or 2 incidents in the United Kingdom of cars hitting pedestrians over Christmas. Now I'll show you this article. So this man here, he was hit by, man dies after car hit pedestrian on Christmas Day. A man who was hurt when a car, he was a little bit more hurt, I'd say, when a car hit pedestrians in London's West End on Christmas Day. Just, this thing didn't make the headline when it happened. So obviously all I can assume is this was an accident, but we've seen Christmas markets, we've seen incidents in America, I would say right now the government in the United Kingdom would be the government that would suppress this if this was the terror attack. We've also got incidents of cars hitting crowds of people on New Year's Eve in London. Now, I can't for the life of me find whether this was 1 or 2 incidents. Certainly there was one incident where a car mounted the curb, hit a crowd of people, came off the curb, and then went and hit another crowd of people. I'll put links to all this in the description, guys, okay? But nothing made the headlines in the United Kingdom. Nothing made the headlines, and you really have to dig deep to find this sort of stuff. Yes, of course, it's there and it's available, but like I said, you have to look for it. You have to go onto a search engine and put the exact wordings in. If you just put headline news, these things don't make the headline. Why? Your guess is as good as mine. It really is. So I'm going to come on now, guys, to the war map in Ukraine. And I do apologize if I'm moving fast. There's a lot of stuff to get through because I really do want to give a good understanding of what's happening in America and why America are going to invade Iran, why they have to invade Iran. So I'll share the war map with you guys and just let you guys see what's happening in Ukraine, because nothing's slowing down at all out there. Right, where have we got? We've got Pokrovsk, Velyeka, Novosilka. They're the two regions I want you guys to focus on because they're about to fall. So again, I'm just going to quickly fast forward. This is from the 1st of December last year, so just over a month ago, I guess. The Russians, just look at the amount. Just look at that, guys. Honestly, like, you can't say that is, like, nobody can say that the front line in Ukraine is holding. Nobody can say there even is a front line in Ukraine at the moment. Right, so that stopped on the 1st. I don't know why it's not updated, but it's not. So this key town of Pokrovsk, as soon as that falls, there's going to be a mass push to this River Dnipro. Now, I want you guys to think about that River Dnipro, because I'm going to come on to a similar situation that we've got in Pakistan with the Pakistan-Afghanistan skirmishes, cross-border shoots, that I think is going to break out into a fully blown conflict. Right, let me stop sharing that. So what else have we got then, guys? What else have we got? We have got the Elon Musk. Right, Elon Musk has changed his name to Kekius Maximus. Now, I don't know why he's done that. It sounds strange. I'm going to have to figure out why that is. Obviously this guy doesn't do things, there's a lot of symbology when he does things. And this is the symbology here. There's a lot of Roman symbology here, not Roman, Egyptian symbology with this. I should probably do a video on this on its own. But again, this is why my spider sense is up with Elon Musk. So he's changed his name now, as I just said, to Kekius Maximus on X. There's a lot of symbology here, and there's a lot of esoteric meaning that goes back to ancient Egypt. Again, this is why just my spider sense is out on this. On the context, with the context, I do think he is a good guy, but I think he's been set up for a fall. And, I just don't accept that he's got the time to run SpaceX. He's got the time to run Tesla. He's got the time to run Boring Company. He's got the time to run Starlink. And he's also the world's #1 Diablo player. Like, is he living in a microwave? Is one Elon Musk minute equivalent to like 10 hours of everybody else? Like, how do you get the time to do all that? You don't. All right. So who's operating these companies, really? What's the agenda and why now? Listen, guys, I keep saying this. Elon Musk's making a lot of the right noises. I agree with what he's saying about the grooming gangs. I agree that we have political prisoners in the United Kingdom. But still, my spider sense is out. I'm thinking, right, okay, I think this guy is a good guy, but I really do think he's been set up for a huge fall. Right, we're going to go straight away now to this plane crash in the United States. So the United States, like, we had the truck incident where a guy drove a Ford F-150 into a crowd of people in New Orleans. Then he started to shoot it out with people. We had the FBI come out and say, this is not a terror attack, but we found IEDs and there was an ISIS flag attached to the back of the truck, but not a terror attack. Then we've come out and people have said, actually, you know what? This is a terror attack. On the same day, we had the Cybertruck set fire to itself, or the guy set fire to the Cybertruck outside Trump Hotel in in Las Vegas. Now there's some media reporting that these guys knew each other because they served on the same base at the same time. That's sketchy, guys. If you've ever been to a US base, you can be on the same base for years and never meet another person. These US bases are huge, and then they're saying that they were both in, I think it was Afghanistan in 2009. Again, Afghanistan's a big place. Units can be in Afghanistan and these guys can never see each other. So whether there's a connection or not, I really don't know. But now we've got this incident where there's been a plane crashed into a huge warehouse. So let's just have a look at that. I'll give you guys the screen. So here we have it, guys. Okay, plane crashes into a huge warehouse with multiple casualties reported. The plane crash is the latest incident to have rocked America in recent days, with a reporter at the scene shared so far that 11 people have been injured in the crash. So if you just look at this building here, if you look at this, it's kind of a signature piece of architecture on the I think that's the northern aspect of this building. So I've actually found this building on the maps, so I want to show you guys where this actually is real quick. So let me just go onto the maps and I'll show you where this is, and I'll show you what the building actually is itself. So this is the building here, what I found, well, what I believe it is. So if you look at this signature part here, this part of architecture, that's obviously, this is what I believe the building is. You've got these, I don't know what these are. I can only assume they're air outlets or something. I don't know, but there's a lot of them. So I would have no idea what those little dimples are. But you have got these maybe water inlets or something. It's a relatively flat roof. Maybe they're collecting the water. I don't know. But this is the building here anyway. I believe anyway. I would speculate this is the building because of this signature. It's a really, really specific piece of architecture, and there's nothing else around this area that is even remotely the same as that. So I would say geolocating it using open source intelligence, I would say that is the building. So let's have a look what is on the ground then. If we just do a little swizzle. Right, where are we? Do I need to face north or south? I think we need to face south. If we face, where are we? Hang on. I think I've totally made a hash of this. Hang on. No, I've not. That's it. This should be it, I think. So let's just have a look up here. Hang on. Have I done this wrong? I think I've done this wrong. Hang on. That doesn't look right. Right. Let me go there. Right, yeah, so I need to be facing south. So I'm facing north. Right, so this is the building here, sorry. Yeah, this is the building, and that's I know you can't see it because the trees are there, but that's that piece of architecture. So let's just move up this way. And this is the so this, can we zoom in on that? I think, can we zoom in? So this is the company. Let me see. This is open source intelligence, guys. Like I say, nothing is hidden. Okay, so that's the company there. Michael Nichols Design. That's the company I believe that they crashed into. Now I'm just gonna, so I'm just gonna have a look at their website. It is literally a furniture shop, bringing California home. I don't see that this has got any military application or any, I just don't see how there's any significance in this building. There may be the owner, they may have something else in that location. I don't know. But what I'm saying is this could just be an accident. But you know what? There's a lot of crazy things happening in America right now. So who knows what this is? All I can tell you is what the mainstream media are reporting. And this is just like another event that's happening in the United States, another event that's bringing chaos in the United States. There are people talking about state of emergency being called in the United States, whereby Donald Trump wouldn't be able to be inaugurated and Joe Biden would have to stay on as the leader. You know, I've no idea about that, but what I can say is absolute insanity what's happening in America right now. Okay, guys, we're gonna go straight to over to the conflict in the Middle East now. And I'm going to share with you guys a small video, and I'm going to show you exactly, and this is exactly why you need boots on the ground in Iran. So remember, the Iranians are looking to develop a nuclear weapon or nuclear systems, and and the Americans, to clear this out, are gonna need boots on the ground. You can't do this from the air, and this is why. Right, so Israel says it destroyed an Iran-backed underground missile factory in Syria. So I'm going to show you a video in a moment. I think I'm going to stop this at a couple of points and give you guys commentary onto what's happening. But, well, we'll just get onto it and then I'll talk. Yeah. Can you hear that? Right, so when I say that the United States are going to have boots on the ground to clear these nuclear facilities, the nuclear facilities in Iran will be underground. They'll be in deep underground military structures, because in 2003, the Iranians will have seen the air power that went into Iraq. And the Iranians understand they can't deal with that type of air power. There's no air defense that can deal with that sort of air power. It's not feasible. Okay, so the Iranians won't even try and defend their airspace. They will just take everything underground. And I would suspect, this is my suspicion, my analysis, I would say that all the Iranian nuclear factories, nuclear projects, they are all underground. And this is why you're going to have to send boots on the ground to clear them like this. Now, there's no sense of urgency from these troops. To me, this looks like this has already been cleared. If there was potential of bad guys down in this location, they would be moving. They wouldn't be in the middle of the corridor. They'd be against the walls. They would have one guy at the front with his rifle up, moving slowly. Another guy with his hand on his shoulder, and they would be moving down left and right of the corridor. Sorry, let me go back a sec. This guy here, he would not be standing there, all right? This guy here, yes, fair enough, coming around the corner. If there was any threat down here at all, he would not be standing there. If this thing had not been cleared, not a chance that guy's standing there. This would be called I guess this would be called a fatal funnel. Okay. Can you hear this noise, guys? Okay, can you hear this like squealing in the background? What do we think that squealing is? I'll tell you in a minute. So that squealing, would be a quadcopter, small drone that they've got in there with them. In the olden days, when you used to clear buildings, you used to have to go in and do it old school yourself. Now, as I understand it, they use drones to check around corners. Somebody would have a screen on their hand. They would send a drone around a corner. They would say, right, is that clear? Is that not clear? And then obviously, if the drone goes around the corner and it sees bad guys, maybe the drone has got some sort of munition on it, like a 9mm system or something. I genuinely don't know. But either way, it's a good way of checking those corners rather than send your guys around. Because when I was in the military, you had to go around yourself, and it was like the newest guy in the team would be the first around the corner or the first through the door. So you can hear that drone really doing, really doing overtime. Yeah, so the reason I've showed you this video, guys, okay, when people are saying, oh, the United States are not going to go they're not going to go into Syria, they're not going to do this, they're not going to do that, they have to do it. They have to have boots on the ground. So just look here, guys, okay? Israel says it destroyed Iran-backed underground missile factory in Syria. There it is, guys, okay? Underground missile factory. Why is it underground? Because everybody knows that if you have something above ground, the Americans can come and send their bombers and make that disappear. So all these factories, all this capacity will be deep, deep, deep underground. Now, the problem is, well, not the problem. Yeah, I guess it is the problem. The problem is that the Iranians have had since 2003, realistically, to prepare for this. They've had since 2003 to start digging things underground. Now, if you think about a state-sponsored industrial undertaking like this, it becomes really easy to then dig in your diggers, dig in your dump trucks, put train lines in there. You can have this whole infrastructure deep, deep, deep down underneath a mountain, in some valley somewhere, and it's almost impossible to take these things out from the air. So this is why you need boots on the ground in Iran. This is why the United States are gonna have to go in if they want to if they want to uphold their House Resolution 559, which was passed on the 1st of November 2023, which says the United States will take all action necessary to stop Iran gaining a nuclear missile. All this stuff's going to be in deep underground military bases, and that's why you're going to need boots on the ground. That's why you're going to need drones on the south coast before the invasion goes in. Guys, look, all this information's out there, okay? All this information is readily available for us to look at. So that's what's happening in the Middle East at the moment. You know, these conflicts have not gone away in the Middle East. The United States will be dragged into that conflict. Where are we going to go now? Okay, so we've got I've got another video to show you guys now, and this is regarding the Afghan-Pakistan skirmish. Now, the Afghanistan and the Iranians, they have a bit of a tiff at the moment about the Helmand River, because obviously the Afghanistan shares a border with Iran on the west coast, on the western aspect of Afghanistan. There's some conflict between the Afghans and the Iranians about water. But I'll probably do another video on that. But I want to focus this video on Afghan-Pakistan, because the winner out of an Afghan-Pakistan conflict is America. Right. Let me just share this with you guys as well.
The Durand line runs about 2,600.
Right, I want to focus here, guys, on this Durand line. I spent a lot of time in Afghanistan, and hang on, let me get a better resolution.
Kilometers.
Okay, right. So this Durand line is the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan. Now, the problem with the Durand line, and the problem that's always been with the Durand line, is, well, let me come off this anyway. So the problem with the Durand line is that when it was made, or so the story goes, when the Durand line was put into place, it was the British were on the Afghanistan. This is the story I heard. I'm not sure. I'm not sure the 100% accuracy of it, but this is the story I've heard, and I think it's true. the Durand Line was put in place in those specific locations because the British had guard towers and watchtowers all up that border. The Russians were kind of on the opposite side, which would now be known as Pakistan. The Russians just went up and down that border, and they said, right, okay, what's the distance of the weapon systems that the British have? And then they just put that border at the maximum range of the British weapon system. So it was as close to the British as they could get, but as close that they could be without being in range of their weapon systems. Now, this is a huge problem, and it's always a problem when you make these borders, because if you don't make these borders by something that's physically recognizable on the ground, such as a river. Remember when I talked about the River Dnipro? What you have now is a situation in Afghanistan where there's nothing really on that line to defend it against. There's nothing really up and down that line. You can form a skirmish line behind. You can form a defensive line behind. There isn't any physical feature on the ground. So that situation between the Pakistanis and the Afghanis, there's a lot of different news articles reporting a lot of different things. It's really difficult to get a ground truth because there's so many conflicting reports. But taking a step back, looking at that from 10,000 feet up, what you've got there is a conflict brewing that's going to drag Pakistan into a conflict with Afghanistan. That is an inevitability right now. This conflict is going to harm Iran because when the United States have their invasion into Iran, the Iranians will call on their regional allies. Now, if Pakistan is already committed to a conflict with Afghanistan, if they can't use the Afghan land, then obviously it's going to be a lot harder for the Pakistanis to reinforce the Iranians. So that's kind of why that conflict's happening there. Now, the reason, if you think about earlier on in the video when I spoke about the River Dnipro, this is why the Russians can't really have any peace negotiations or peace deals until they are up to the River Dnipro, because that River Dnipro is a natural defensive line. It's a natural defensive line for both the Ukrainians and the Russians. So all this fake talk of peace talks and, Donald Trump's going to come to some sort of an agreement. Nothing is going to happen. And Vladimir Putin's not even going to entertain thinking about a peace talk or a peace negotiation or some sort of, ceasefire until he is up to the River Dnipro. Nothing else. Now, the problem there is once Vladimir Putin is up to the River Dnipro, that's half of Ukraine gone. Half of Ukraine gone, and a lot of that region is the gas producing regions. It is the mineral rich regions. It's the regions that have got vast amounts of coal. And I know what we're all thinking in the West. Oh, Russia's using coal. How? It's not the green agenda. Do you know what? They don't care. They keep their furnaces burning. They keep burning that coal. They do not care about our green agenda. The only people who care about our green agenda are those people in the United Kingdom who are making money from it. But anyway, guys, that is kind of the crux of the video. I know I was a bit skew-whiff on this video, and I was hitting a lot of different topics that I kind of seem to be unrelated. We started with the state of the United Kingdom. If you're not from the United Kingdom, that's the situation we have on the ground. We've got Elon Musk coming out and saying things. Remember, my jury is I'm still not convinced about Elon Musk and his agenda. Although, listen, I've got to be fair. I agree with a lot of what he's saying, and a lot of what he's doing. But there's just so many question marks for me over that guy. There's so many question marks for me over that guy. There's so many things he does, and I see esoteric meaning to it. And of course, other people will be seeing this as well. We've got the situation in the United States that's just like crazier and crazier by the hour. We've got the inevitability and why there's going to be United States soldiers on the ground in Iran. It's because they're going to have to clear these deep underground military bases. We've got the situation on the Afghan-Pakistan border, and we've got one more that I'm going to go with you here, guys, okay? This is a bit of a wild card. Right. Okay. From a top Palestinian leader, I'm going to leave you with this, and this is going to be a bit of a tongue in cheek. Take it with a pinch of salt. Well, this is from the Daily Star. So listen, I get it. It's not the most credible news outlet. World War III fears as Palestinian leader warns Trump will destroy Iran and obliterate Hamas. So this comes as a top Palestinian leaders expects Donald Trump to destroy Iran. What have I been saying, ladies and gentlemen? What have I been saying for the longest time? What have I been saying for the best part of a year, maybe even longer than a year? The United States will go and have a war with Iran. They need boots on the ground. All these people saying, oh, you know, the United States is just going to do it from the air. You can't do this from the air. You need to have boots on the ground. The only way they can get boots on the ground is an amphibious assault. The only time windows for an amphibious assault is March. The earliest they can go is March 2026. They can't really leave it till March 2027. That's too close to the US election cycle for the next election, and things will be happening in China, between China and Taiwan then. So guys, listen, we are heading to a global conflict of an industrial scale. Like I said, I know I was a little bit all over the place with this video, and I do apologize for that. But anyway, guys, I'm going to back to grid, and I'll get you guys another video later.